Welcome to the Inspiring Women of Iowa podcast, a special series amplifying the stories of the Inspiring Women of Iowa finalists. Inspiring Women of Iowa is an annual event hosted by Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa with the goal of celebrating women of courage, confidence, and character who are making the world a better place. And why does that sound familiar? Well, because it also happens to be the mission of the Girl Scouts, where they believe society is better because strong women show girls that anything is possible. This event was created by Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa in 2017 to celebrate women in our community and share their stories, while raising support for the Girl Scout programs that build the next generation of inspiring women. 16 individuals are celebrated annually with the Courage, Confidence, Character, and Inspiring Advocate for Women awards. I'm your host, Teresa Peterson, Caramel Delight enthusiast, and I'm honored to have the chance to speak with these amazing, inspiring women and to share their stories with you. Joining me today is Amanda Ladd. Amanda is the VP of Enterprise Solutions at Business Solver and a devoted community advocate. She has been nominated for the Confidence Award this year. Amanda, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Tell us what we should know about you and your work.
So my work and why I was nominated, like you said, I'm a big community advocate. Fortunately, professionally, I've worked for Business Solver in the Des Moines community for coming up on 16 years. And a big part of that is the Business Solver Foundation. So I have done a lot of volunteering and work through the Business Solver Foundation. And then, being in the Des Moines community, to me, it's really important to get involved, learn about different organizations in the community, and that's how I connect. And so what's important to me is finding things that you're passionate about and just getting involved and finding things that maybe just take an hour or two, or, something that you can really dig into, such as being on boards or getting more involved. But I think that's how we connect our community is, learning more about it and getting involved. So that's really where I focus my free time, and I'm happy to talk about it.
Tell us about some of the ways you love to be involved. And I'm also thinking about if someone is listening who wants to be more involved and doesn't know where to start or thinks, I only have so little time, surely I can't make a difference. Bring that to light. How does that look through your eyes?
Yeah, it's a really great question. For me, one of the easiest things that I do, and maybe it's not for everyone, is donating blood.
Yeah.
That's something that and I hate needles, I'll be honest, but I know it's something I can do. And so I'm willing to go through a little bit of pain it takes like 20, maybe 30 minutes, every 8 weeks. And so that's one thing that I personally know is probably the quickest and easiest way
Mm.
that I know makes a difference. I think there's little things like that in the community where whatever it is that speaks to you, there's, lots of different groups. I had mentioned the Business Solver Foundation, but also just literally looking, in Facebook groups or, just Googling different groups that are in your community and seeing what ways they have to give back. Some of that may be monetary, but others could be, hey, pick up a 2-hour shift to package up meals, at Meals from the Heartland or with Des Moines Refugees are two examples of others that I've done those types of things with, where it really is just a few hours. It could be on the weekend, it could be after work. But I think just being curious and seeking that information out and finding what really speaks to you is really where I've started. And that's what I would encourage anyone listening, is just start looking for those things and those opportunities. And, they'll come to you, or you might get introduced to someone that can tell you more about it. And so I'd say be curious and just do a little bit of searching out there. And there's so many great resources in all of our communities, not just in, the Des Moines or Central Iowa area.
Tell us about You mentioned such beautiful things, including giving blood, which reminds me it's probably time for me to go back. So
Yeah.
I'll add that to my list after the call.
Yeah.
Tell me about, I think a lot of times people see their schedule and it's full, and it's
Mhm.
easy for them to think this is something, one more thing I have to do for someone else, instead of maybe stepping into that service or like, what comes back to you? What comes back to your heart? Like, how do you see and experience that after you've
Yeah.
given? Given whether it's literally part of you or given part of your time to package meals, right? Like how does that
Yeah.
feel when it comes back to you?
Yeah. I love that question because giving back for me just, like, totally fills my cup. Like,
Mm,
no matter what it is, I just leave feeling more connected to my community. Like, I've maybe learned something new, maybe met someone that, I hadn't met before, and I think the world is always feeling crazy and big, and it's
mm,
like, how can
yeah.
I really make a difference?
Yeah.
And for me, what I feel is that's my way to make a difference is I can't tackle world peace or some of these big
Yeah.
things. None of us can, right? And I think whenever I feel overwhelmed, that's how I look at, you know what, I can take a small action, whatever that may be. And that's why for me, it looks different than maybe others that have fully thrown themselves into one organization, which is wonderful for so many reasons. But for me personally, what I've found fulfillment in and been able to use my time is to diversify that across, several different organizations and saying, "Oh, there's this shift available on Saturday morning. I'm available then." And it may feel stressful sometimes looking at your calendar and saying, "Oh, I don't know if I can squeeze one more thing in," but I would challenge anyone to say, "Give it a shot. See how you feel after it, and I promise you, you will probably be back doing that same thing again or finding something
Mm,
similar and realize that it wasn't as difficult, and depending on what it is, bring your family along, bring a friend, like, make it a thing. It's not something that you just have to do on your own, and that makes it even more better, like, even
yeah.
better when you're bringing people along.
I love that idea. Like, grab a friend and go. Everything's more fun with
Yeah,
a friend, and then you could make new friends while
yeah,
you're there, right?
yeah,
Uh,
exactly, exactly.
Share with us some of the work, some of the service that you're most proud of.
So I spent a long time with Everybody Wins Iowa. They are a mentoring program. Reading is near and dear to my heart. I've
Mm,
been a lifelong reader and know the importance of being able to read. And uh, so I spent a long time volunteering where you're paired up with a student and seeing the progress from week to
mm,
week. You read about an hour a week. These kids maybe they're English language learners. They are maybe just behind for whatever reason. And seeing the progress that they make is something I'm really proud of to have not only been a volunteer with that organization for over 15 years, but then also sitting on the board for a long time. And so that's one that I'm really proud of. And currently, I'm a volunteer with Dorothy's House, which supports survivors
mm,
of abuse in our community. And these are women that just are looking for a second chance. And I feel so fulfilled knowing that I get to be part of their journey and trying to reconnect and rediscover that. And that's really fulfilling for me knowing that you can be a small part of someone's journey because you never know what someone remembers or what they connect with. But I'm sure all of us can think of people along the way that have made an impact, and you may never know that you did. But I'm proud to be part of someone's journey and hopefully making some sort of small impact.
that's so beautiful to me because something I read related to your nomination was that idea that such small things can have such an enormous ripple. And maybe you
Yep.
witness them and maybe you never get to witness them. But
Yep.
it's like the world needs a little more folks banking on putting in some goodness, right? And that there will be a ripple,
Yeah,
that it will matter maybe now, maybe later, but there's something so beautiful about that to me, Amanda.
I agree. Well, and I appreciate that. We're talking about volunteering, but the same idea to me just can play out in a conversation with someone, being
Mm,
curious, being empathetic, just extending a kind gesture, like that can go so far in someone's day. If you see someone at the grocery store and they need help, it's just maybe taking that extra gap, thinking of how can I make a difference in someone's day, and it doesn't, again, have to be some big grand gesture. Um, I would imagine most people remember some of those smaller things more, because it's so unexpected, which says a lot about other things,
yeah.
but, just whatever that is, I mean, it's silly. Someone, like, opening a car door or, like,
Oh,
helping
yes.
those are things that, like, again, I know it's not totally the spirit of it, but it's the idea of just being kind and curious and empathetic towards our neighbors, and I'm a woman of faith, and I believe that, truly helping your neighbors literally and figuratively can be done in so many ways, and so I
Yeah.
would just say look for those opportunities, whatever they are, as they present themselves throughout the day.
There's something like that's gonna stick with me, this idea, especially as we think about like schedules or life. Like, there are seasons when I have time for much bigger commitments,
100%.
and there are seasons where I don't, but I can
Yeah.
still have those micro moments of kindness that I don't have to plan for, right? That I
Yeah,
don't have to
right.
strategize. I don't need to grab a friend to go or reach out to
Yes.
do a signup.com. Like, I can just show up for someone
Yeah.
in the moment, and it's so brief and meaningful. Like, that's
Yes.
such a beautiful reminder about how to make a difference, like large and small, and not
Yes.
even deciding which one is the large one and which one is the small one, right? But just like
Yeah.
always.
I think yes. I To me, it becomes like, just a mentality of how you approach and you see
Yeah.
the world around you. It is a practice as well. Like, you
Yeah.
have to remind yourself because there have probably been times too where you look back on a situation, you're like, "Oh, I could have handled that better," or, "I could have been." I didn't even notice that whatever it is,
Yeah.
and so it's certainly a constant reminder, but I think as you practice it more and you think about, just leading that way, it also makes the world not feel so heavy,
Mm.
admittedly. It can feel very overwhelming and heavy,
Yes.
and there's nothing I can do that's gonna make a difference. It's like, if you can make a small difference and the
Yeah.
person next to you, you never know what they're going through. Um, if you can make a kind, small gesture, uh, I mean, I want to be remembered for that sort of thing. You know, in a daily life, just in passing,
Yeah.
but
It's
broader scale
beautiful.
too.
How do you stay inspired?
Uh, my faith is a big part of that. I
Mhm.
will say that is is a reminder that there's a bigger part of all of this. But it's also just surrounding myself with people that are hopeful, that embody a lot of those characteristics of caring, compassion. And so I'm fortunate to have a lot of those individuals that I work with through the foundation, but also through volunteering. And also just I mentioned it before, but being curious, it's hard not to like pass judgment. I think it's human nature, but sometimes
Mhm.
just being curious can inspire you. Someone can say something or tell you a story that is
Yeah.
very unexpected. And so I think if you kind of lead with more of a curiosity mindset, you might be inspired in the strangest of ways that you don't even expect. And I think that's what's happened to me. So that is what kind of fuels my curiosity, especially when maybe meeting people that I don't know anything about before passing
Yeah.
judgment. Maybe ask me questions. So
Yeah.
that's a little bit of how I stay inspired as well.
Mm. I love that. The world could use good, healthy dose of curiosity, right? Like, let's just
Yes.
stop and take a breath and ask a question.
Yeah.
I love it. This, my
Yeah.
friend, might be the hardest question of all. What's your
Ugh,
favorite Girl
okay.
Scout cookie? You don't have to have just
Oh.
one favorite, but like if they're all laying out there, which one are you going for first?
So, classic in terms of, like, the peanut butter patties.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they're classic to me. I know a lot of people are gonna think like, "Oh, Thin Mint, classic," but which is great, but I am a peanut butter, like, chocolate girl
They're
through and
so
through,
good.
so it feels very indulgent, and I love it, and as a Girl Scout, former Girl Scout, man, if that's all I had left, I'd be fine.
Yeah, those are good. That's no joke. Just like we,
Yeah.
for anyone out here who wants to follow up after this, we made some killer s'mores with the
Ooh,
peppermint. I mean, not peppermint. Sorry, the peanut butter patties, and toasted marshmallow in the
yes!
middle. That was good. That was very
That's a new
good.
pro move, by the way. We go camping, in the, summer, and I don't even know if it was my husband or somebody else introduced the idea of putting cookies or candy bars into your s'mores. It's like, "Whoa."
Hmm. The only thing
It's
I'll
a level
say,
up.
come prepared because since you're not holding a graham cracker, you're just holding the chocolate, you get messy
Yeah.
faster.
Oh,
It never
yeah.
bothers me, just for the record, but,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
those listening who wanna stay tidy, get a wet wipe. You're
Yes.
gonna
Yeah. That's good advice. That's great advice.
Amanda, this has been a pleasure. We're excited for
Yes.
everything that you continue to do, and we'll see you at the luncheon
Thank
in
you.
May.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been a joy.
Thank you. It's our pleasure. The 2026 Inspiring Women of Iowa event will be held on May 8th at the Meadows Events and Conference Center. To purchase tickets and get more information about supporting this event, please visit inspiringwomenofiowa.com. All proceeds from this fundraising event stay 100% local to benefit Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa and their mission to build up girls of courage, confidence, and character who will make this world a better place. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support.